It's time to grow your agency like a guru. Introducing Go Guru Pro. The Go High Level platform allows for minimizing software-based subscriptions and grants control over several facets of marketing and communication. Automate your workflow, communicate with your leads, book appointments in advance, and house all your clients in one secure location. Visit goguru.pro and schedule your one-on-one demo today.
Hey, what's up, Justin?
How you doing, Josh?
Good. How are you?
I am doing well. Sorry for all the loops there. Just over here working and had a little loop action for you guys out there. So appreciate everyone for being on today. And I'm going to give it a little bit of time to see if we can get some people going here. Let's see. I know when that hotline bling, Dabber, it's not live. Boom. I'm sure that's Matt Murray or someone still on the line. And perfect. I want to grow my agency like a guru. Well, you can head over to goguru.pro and do just that. So, all right, guys, thank you for being on today with Josh and myself. Please give us a comment for wherever you're watching this from. Write your town in the comments and also tell us what lead source sucks the most. Put that in the comments. What lead source is the most atrocious? That's what we want to know. So let us know in the comments. We're trying to avoid stuff too, guys. We need some ideas on what to avoid. And that's what we're going to give you guys. So
nobody likes wasting money. I found that out.
No, wasting money is among the list of things I want to do the least. So, but I have wasted some money in my day. So,
you know, if you try enough things, you know, if you throw enough noodles at the wall, something's going to stick, but a lot of them will. And somebody said that once and I liked it. And it's funny, like you test a lot of things, and I know you guys test a lot of things. We're testing a lot of things. And I like the conversation around leads because there's just so many things you can do that sometimes you wonder like, hey, I wonder if I did this. And you find some losers for sure. So I'll be curious to see what people say is the worst sources.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like we got some leads that cuss me out, someone says here. So all kinds of stuff. Yeah, those leads suck, but you know what? DSNP Facebook leads. Yeah, they're cheap. Those are the ones that everyone shows you the lead price on. They're like, look at us. We're getting these for 50 cents, $1. It's like,
dude,
yeah.
In 2020, the first, not to cut you off there, but I have a story real quick. In 2020, the first lead, we did a lot of organic, grassroots stuff up until that point. But the first lead that I generated by myself, online lead, I was so excited. I called him, and I have never been cussed out like that in my entire life. I have never since, nor heard anyone else, but he was calling me all kinds of things, saying he's going to come find me at my house and all kinds of crazy stuff. And I've never had that experience. So since then, and there's some pretty bad ones out there.
I think so. What I've found is on all mediums, you can develop awful leads and you can develop great leads. So you can develop really high quality leads through direct mail. You can develop awful leads through direct mail. You can develop really high quality leads on Facebook, and you can develop awful leads on Facebook. So you can even develop awful log call-ins from TV. Mostly it has to do with your messaging and what's your hook, what's your call to action. The lowest quality call to action gets the lowest quality lead. I mean, you got to think about how you would respond. What would you respond to? And what might be something you would download or that you would go after. And so we've just found that. And actually, it's what we're going to talk about today is what is the best lead source right now outside of AEP. And maybe it's not what everybody's thinking. When I got into the business, we were kind of leaving the era of from my perspective, a lot of people targeting Medigap rewrites. That was the heavy target, Medigap rewrites. And then we were entering the era of the T65 target. And the T65 target was mostly direct mail, traditional media, and then some of us, a few of us, were on the forefront of the T65 targeted through Facebook. And then some of us were doing Google. So I say some of us, not us. I wasn't, but I had friends that were. But we were heavily targeting T65. That's where we started moving into. I remember the first time I said it, I told my dad, I was like, I need to start targeting more T65s. He's like, yeah, I've never really targeted T65s. And I was like, what? It just didn't make any sense to me. He's like, oh, but the thought process at the time was everyone else is targeting people turning 65. And so I don't want to be there because that's where everybody's at. And so you'll come into the market thinking, don't target this demographic because everyone's targeting that demographic. But demo targeting changes based on that perception. So if everybody thinks that and they go a different direction. Now, recently we've been driven by this other concept, and the concept has been there's been so much marketing money poured into the Medicare Advantage world that people started targeting the low-income subsidy Medicare Advantage. They were targeting the Medicare Advantage acquisition. They weren't targeting Medicare Advantage persistency or lifetime value. And that's why you see the reported numbers of those have plummeted. Persistency and lifetime value, which are directly correlated. But they were targeting the quickest Medicare Advantage acquisition because there's been so much marketing money flood that it's easy to go for, and we know this, Josh, because we have other markets we're in too, but it's easy to go for a lower quality client, a lower expected persistency, if you can get your money back really quick on your investment. And Medicare, historically, the commission model has been made to where that's not the case. Like, we got to keep them on the books so that we can get our money back. So when I came in, like, it was always expected that you should want to get your money back in the first year. That was the initial lessons I learned. So like, if I'm going to make, let's say I'm writing a med sup and I'm, at 20, let's say I'm street level, and I'll just pull up my calculator so I don't sound stupid. 21% on the med sup, and the average annual med sup nationwide is $1,500. So I'm making $315 a year for most states, roughly six years, right? So I'm making $315. So I could spend anywhere up to $315 to acquire that client and get my money back in the first year. Very difficult for people to do this when they're new, by the way, because they don't have any money. Most people come into this business with no money. It's one of the only industries. There's 3 industries. We call the acronym is FIRE: finance, insurance, and real estate. And finance, you can loop car sales into that, because really car sales is all part of the finance industry. It's not really car sales. It's about the finance. But finance, insurance, and real estate is where people go into business with no money. They don't have any, like anybody else is going, I'm going to go start a business, so I have to get inventory and I have to make money. But we don't do that in that. And I guess car sales maybe isn't in that, because a car salesman ends up being an employee. He's a sales employee. This is the only one where it's like, I'm going to start my business. How much money do you have? I have $1,100.
Yeah.
And a mortgage that's due and 6 kids. But that's people do that in insurance. But first year people come in, no money, and they're expected to spend their first year's commission getting the business. It's not necessarily a bad expectation. That's why it's good to learn how to cross sell, so you can live off your cross sell when you're really acquiring the core Medicare health insurance product.
Well, I agree with that. And like at Medicare Con, again, kind of, my philosophy is just kind of the different stages of like what an agent goes through in the industry. And like, stage 1 person that's brand new to the industry, they need to be focused on something completely different than somebody that's stage 4 that has $400,000, $500,000 in renewals coming in, but they have no time. They've built themselves a lucrative prison, but built a time trap prison. obviously those people need to focus on something completely different. And kind of looping it back around to what you started out with is just like, what are we seeing now? I don't know if I'm supposed to skip ahead here or not, but
No, you're
kind of
good.
getting into like really what are we seeing now as kind of the future of marketing, especially inside the insurance business. There's lots of different industries, but really, I guess I'll give my answer first. I'd like to hear your answer, but really it comes down to me like just providing a demonstration asset of some kind. And I guess the way I define that is really providing value up front, demonstrating to your audience that you know what you're talking about, giving them that value. And there's lots of ways you can do this. For us, obviously, we've done a lot of webinars in our day. That's worked really well for us on the T65 side. And I think that's a really cool place to provide value. Again, you're saying like, don't go where everyone else is going, go where the market's not, headed that way. And, if everyone else is doing, low income subsidy, doing a bunch of D-SNPs, doing flips, all that kind of stuff, maybe focus on T65 again.
Yeah.
That's something that you and I have never really left. A lot of people have left.
And it's gotten better. And I don't know why I'm telling people to get back into it other than I love crowding my own market, but, or maybe we're poised in a way to help people do that too. So we can profit off of helping other people achieve that. But, yeah, I mean, I think there was a period where a lot of people did get into the T65, but then Medicare Advantage and the rapid expansion of Medicare Advantage pulled it away. I think everybody's about to get back into it. And I think, they should be in it outside of AEP anyway. However, we've had this market change where they reenacted OEP. So that created 3 more months of plan changes. And then the SCP market is ridiculous because you have low income subsidy quarterly SCPs. And then you have all these FEMA and SPAP and LEC SCPs that, people are able to utilize and keep the same low income, low bar marketing going all year long. But, with T65, it's the quality marketing. And so I have just a couple of, stats that we've seen in our business at scale related to the T65 market. So number of products sold per person in the T65 market for us is 2.3 times higher. So 2.3 times higher, that's pretty, for us, it's pretty crazy. So in the plan swap market, whereas we might average one close to 1.5 products per person, we're averaging 2.5 times that in the T65 market. If you look at the persistency in low income market versus T65, our persistency in the T65 market is 27% higher than any sort of low income D-SNP marketing. Now, that's not compared to Medigap rewrites. That's compared to low income D-SNP, LIS, MA marketing, and which is going to come down. And one of the reasons I think that's coming down is the 48-hour scope rule is going to make any telesales related to that much harder to do. It could impact to some degree physical appointments too, depending on how honest people are about the dates they're putting on physical scopes of appointment. But another thing that we're looking at is, let's see here, a higher rate of MedSup enrollment in the T65 market, because T65 market is an educational market. And so go back to what you're saying, Josh, like, I think Gary Vaynerchuk called it years ago when I was reading it, the thank you economy. We've entered the thank you economy. And just so you know now, like the immediate reward for educating clients 10 years ago was really good because we had entered the market where people were inundated with product ads and service ads and branding ads. And I think of the 90s as like the decade of brand. Like it was huge, with Coke and, I don't know if you've seen that documentary about the guy that gamed the Pepsi. It was like a Pepsi incentive deal where he was like trying to win the airplane because they said you could win a Harrier jet and the thing, but it was a kind of a joke, but it didn't say it was a joke. So anyway, you should go watch that, Josh. You'll like that. It's on Netflix, but that was the era of the brand. And then when the thank you economy came, it was very focused on entertainment and education and advertising. And education was really key because people are, they're rewarding you with their business. That's how they say thank you, is rewarding you with their business by you doing something for them. And what we saw was a huge reward for doing that about 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 7 years ago, 6 years ago. Now, I would tell you that if you're not participating in adding value before you get the sale, that like that's now it's like necessary just to be like an average business. Like you really because the market.
In today's world, and
Yeah,
it's gone so much that way because you're competing, to your point, you're competing against everybody else that's already doing it.
right.
So you can't get into the content game and not play like Gary Vee plays. He's out there putting out so much content that if you're not doing that, if you're not putting out any content, you're not really even on the same playing field at all. And in
Yeah.
our business, our industry has been slower to adopt this, which is good for anyone that's watching this. It's actually good for us, right? The ones that want to get out in front of it. But even this industry has started to. There's a lot more competition now that are putting out,
Yeah.
really good things to the market. I know you're going to talk about something that you guys have been putting out that's been getting crazy good results. For us, it's been just as simple as the webinar model, just putting out free information that these folks really want and they need, and doing it in a way that they can see you, they get to know you, like you, and trust you before they even call you. And that's kind of a weird concept to a lot of people, especially if you're used to doing, let's say you've been in the business for quite some time and you're used to doing business a different way. It's just remember, like if you've been in the business for 30 years, remember when you got in, you probably had made some adaptations and that worked really, really well for a long time. And that's what we're trying to do now is I'm trying to take what's working and adapt it and, make it better. And I think that part of that is just this, like you're saying, Justin, this new thank you economy. And it's not quite so new anymore. Now it's kind of like you're saying, a prerequisite just to get on the same playing field.
And you're right. I was thinking the same thing. We always follow the trends in the industry, which is great for subpar marketers to be in because, us subpar marketers are viewed as excellent marketers within our industry. But really, we're just looking at industries that move faster than ours and using concepts that they're already using. And they're using it, so many of them are using, like, if you look at real estate or car sales or some of these other ones, they just move faster. And so to get into, so one of the things we're doing, and the webinar is a perfect tie-in because Josh has been using webinars since I met him, and has an excellent funnel that just continues to bear fruit, and now bears fruit for many agents that we have affiliations with around the country, a lot of them who we've met through Josh. But what we started doing a while back was leveraging the lead magnet. It's so funny, like concepts that are great that die, but when they die, you can recirculate them. Like trends that come back, right? You see like girls now wearing the 90s mom jeans. I remember my mom wearing them and me thinking, why is my mom wearing those mom jeans? And now like my daughter's wearing them. And I'm like,
Yeah, they come back.
what is going on? Right. So, but same thing happened. There's my wife. She's probably wearing some mom jeans right there in the comments. But but anyway, so when you see these trends come back in marketing, it's because some of us look at it and we're like, wait a minute, people are just not using the lead magnet the way they were. They are not using the lead magnet at the same rate. So when we started creating, I went to Nashville during COVID. We when it first opened back up, we went to not the Omni. It was the indoor. Oh, the Opryland Hotel. It's like it's pretty cool. It's an indoor water park. They had opened it back up in Nashville, probably sometime in late summer or fall 2020. And I went there and I was waking up at about 4:30 or 5 every day, which I don't do all the time. I'm not here to tell you to wake up early. Get those of you that don't believe that. But my wife and kids were sleeping till like 7:30. So I was like, I really wanted to write this book about Medicare. I wanted a consumer driven, Medicare book written in my own language. So I was like, I'm just going to wake up every day 2 or 3 hours before they do and write this book. And I was able to bang it out. I got into that zone, which is good. And over, that week, I wrote this book, and it's turned into like an excellent lead magnet for us. And we were sending it through direct mail. We do all sorts of things with this book, but not too long ago, I was talking to Josh, and we were starting to use it in Facebook ads as a digital lead magnet. And one thing that was really funny, I heard not too long ago, and this is kind of hit twice. You got to hear things 2 or 3 times before they click. And I heard somebody say, throw a little outbound in your funnel. And what they meant was, like sometimes we try to automate so much of the sale these days, or so much of our process, that we don't just pick up the damn phone and call people. And so Josh said, I was talking about automating different parts of these leads we were getting through Medicare Breakdown as a lead magnet, our book as a lead magnet. And the leads are coming in now at $6.56 a lead, T65 in 36 states outside of where we're marketing, with extremely high intent, high MedSup, middle income, great leads, because the messaging is, you're confused. Let us help. Let us educate you for free with a resource. No strings attached. But then John,
65 leads that are exclusive to you, that already saw your face as the expert and saw your title of your book that you wrote. That's phenomenal.
Well, then you said, what you guys should just try. You should just try calling. You should just try setting the appointment right away. So I did. I changed the funnel, and I just said, try to set the appointment as soon as they download the book, and it's worked. Like, it's crazy, like how there is, it's not a complex funnel. It's setting the appointment, and if they don't set the appointment, call them. And the receptiveness rate that we've gotten to it, and I think it's the authority, like you're saying, of the book. Like, you can write a book, you can be on, and that's why we started, working with agents and white labeling, because some people just don't find the time or the words or whatever to sit down and write their own book, and
totally. It's a gruesome process to write your own book. Like, that's why we did it. So for anyone that's watching, it's like 100%. Justin's pretty humble about it, but he shouldn't be. Just white label the book. Like, it's not, unless it's really something you want to do yourself and you want to do that, but there's probably a different topic that you want to write about anyway. I want to write a book. I'm actually currently writing a book, but it's not for Medicare folks. I just white labeled Justin's, and I don't know how many copies we bought, like 3,000 of them. I still want to get some more, so make sure we connect on that. But yeah, 100% it's worth it just to have your copy. I don't need to worry about how to phrase it, and just get it done. But it is kind of cool. I want to give something concrete really quick that you sparked something, is the reason that works so well in marketing, and the reason that it's working so well, obviously, for you guys, is you gave them like a value reason. Like, it's something that I'm really big on, a value excuse. And I don't know, it's not like an official term. It's just something that I made up internally at our agency, is like, the question is like, what's my value reason or excuse that I can call this person? And it's natural that we're calling them, instead of like, oh, this is, Robert at Josh Lustig's office, and I just wanted to see if you had any Medicare questions. They're always going to say no, like every single time. Who wants to just say, oh yeah, I have all these questions? Like, it does not happen very often. But if you say, hey, I wanted to make sure you got that book that you opted in for. I want to make sure that it downloaded and didn't get messed up in your email somewhere. Did you see that come through, Miss Jones, or whatever? That's a lot different conversation. I'm just trying to follow up and make sure that they got what they wanted. Or for us, it's on the webinar side. Hey, I saw that you registered for the webinar and something came up and you weren't able to make it. I have the recording, or I could just give you a few notes right now. Like, grab a pen and paper, let's get started. It's a lot different conversation. You have a reason to talk about it. So I love that you're doing it with the books. I think everybody should have it.
Number one response we get when we get on the phone with them, our agents are getting, and it's not me calling. They don't expect me to call. I wrote the book, so but if I did call, and this is because when we have had that happen, what they'll say is, "Wow, I really didn't expect you to call." So it's like even better, but they're totally okay with other people calling, because that's the way they think it. Same thing when they see you in video or webinar, and I'm sure you've seen that, like where people are like, they're completely okay with it being another agent.
Oh,
Josh
totally.
is really busy, like of course he has other agents calling me, but I'm sure
they can't believe it. They can't believe it when you were the one on the phone. Like, the first couple that I ran, first of all, I was shocked that it actually worked. I was not learning from anybody in the insurance industry about like exactly how webinars worked. I attended a couple people's webinars. I didn't invent webinars, but I went to a couple people's webinars that are in the insurance business. They're like 2 hours long. I'll just be honest, they were awful. I did not like them. So I went outside the industry and I was like getting some coaching on it. And I put it all together. It took me a long time to figure out, like piecing all these different, pieces of advice together. And
I think originally you were using like 3 different pieces of software too, like at the same
like
time.
6, like a texting software, an email software, a webinar.
Now it's like one software platform that runs 90% of it, right? So
totally, it's amazing what you can do through these, these platforms now. And I put it all together, and I hit go on the webinar. It was a pre-recorded webinar, so there's a tip for everybody. It's just a pre-recorded one that kind of halfway feels live, but I don't ever promise that it's live. I don't want it to be, a mistruth. But I hit play on it, and at the end, I fill my calendar up with 35 appointments, and I thought it was a glitch. Like there's 200 people coming to it.
Yeah.
I thought
it was one person that filled it out 35 times.
Yeah, well, that was like a bot. I was like, somebody just attacked me. Like, this can't be true. And there's people like texting in like, hey, I can't get on your calendar. Like, it must be broken. I'm like, well, crap, it must be broken. Turns out it was just full. And like, it doesn't always work that way when you launch something. Believe me, there's a lot of testing and iterations that have to happen. But it was just a cool thing. And I called the first appointment, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is really you. Like, this is you? This is Josh? And I'm like, dude, I'm just a guy out in Idaho that's a nobody. So, but it's that celebrity effect. It's what you guys have done so well with TV and the local branding that you've done, around your guys' space. It's the celebrity effect. It's that authority. And as you build that into your marketing, it's going to return to you in huge dividends. And it is the new thank you economy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we saw, just a couple of actionable items that I would hope people would write down, that maybe if they don't know, first of all, leads suck. They're all good and they all suck, but I don't like the term leads. I've said that a ton, because leads gets watered down. Like, if you buy leads from somebody else, they're probably awful 9 times out of 10. You buy a first batch from a vendor and they're really good, they might just be tricking you with good leads and then sell you crap later on. I mean, but I'm not saying you can't work leads and make money. This is not what I'm saying. Like, people can, but marketing is better. Marketing. So we're talking about marketing. So it's all in the messaging. It's not the apparatus that like tricks someone into giving you the number. And then, like, when you advertise disingenuously or borderline non-compliantly, and then you get on the phone and it's not a high quality prospect, or if you're offering a bunch of free stuff and then you call them and they're not nice, it's kind of like, what did you expect? I mean,
you can still do it if it's profitable, and get more power to you if it's profitable, and there's, as long as it's not, immoral or anything.
Right.
But you just can't, like, to your point, you just can't expect it to be a super high quality lead if you're doing low quality marketing.
Yeah, like the ACA market's on fire right now, and it's a lot of, it's a market that responds to low quality marketing, and that's fine. And I'm not even going to talk about ACA today, but from that concept, like, if you ever try to call a bunch of those people, like, it's not the best people in the world. It's not. I mean, it's just not. I mean, we're going to help them all the same, regardless of whether they're great people or not. But they tend to, that low income market tends to be really, really difficult to please. I'm not saying like rich people are great either. My favorite market, middle class. I love the middle class, from lower to middle to barely in the upper. The lowest income group and the highest income group don't buy a lot of products. They're hard to satisfy. I would take the high income over the lowest income, but we write them all. Like, this is not, I'm not saying I won't help somebody with a DSNP. I won't help someone with the ACA. We want business first. But if I'm going to market to the highest, most profitable group of people, and the group of people that appreciate our services, aren't going to berate my staff, that kind of stuff. Middle income, they don't expect anything for free, or they're great people.
Well, and they have like work ethic and like values, like oftentimes, because it's like, I eat what I kill. Like, normally that's the kind of attitude that they have. And some people on the opposite sides of those spectrums don't. I guess a really clear action item, just for anyone that's watching this right now and taking notes, a clear action item would be, who is my ideal client avatar, right? Like, who is my ideal client? If I could just go out and choose 100 people to become clients of mine tomorrow automatically, who would those people on average be and what would they look like? Because yes, we're going to help everyone that's low, below that and everyone that's above that. And income's just one variable. Like there's a million things you could talk about. But yes, we're going to help everybody to a certain extent within reason, right? But who are we going to target in our actual marketing? I think is a really valuable thing that most people don't think about. For me, I'm very particular. Like I have for T65 marketing, I have this vision of this couple that are 64 and a half years old, not 64, not 66. Now, do we write everything? Yes. So like my target of who I'm, really looking for on advertising is 64 and a half, retired. They're sitting down on the couch at 11 a.m. in the morning, drinking coffee, talking about their life, a husband and a wife or whatever. And just a normal family sitting there. And I like that image because now I can start to use that in my marketing. Okay.
Yeah.
For example, on our webinars, here's a tip, write it down. We don't do them at 6 p.m. at night when we do T65 webinars, and we don't do them on Saturday. I've tested it. We get a ton of working people that are going to be not retiring soon. We get a ton of those people in the evenings and on the weekend. Our cost per lead goes down. We actually get a lower cost per lead nights and on the weekend if we run webinars on those time slots because more people sign up because it's easier. Right. But we get a much higher cost per acquisition because our ideal client is not the one that's working for the next 5 years because we can't really help them sign up for anything. So it's still nice to help them out. It'll still come back around for us. But I don't want to target those people. They are working at 11 a.m. So we always do 11 a.m. because
just commented, how do you target if they're retired? But you see how he wasn't targeting an interest. He was targeting it, when are these people going to be free? And if they're retired, they're more likely to be free at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday than, if they're working. So perfect. And I mean, yeah, like you said, we've done dinner seminars, and if you fill them, we do evening dinner ones, and you do fill them up with a lot of people that are working, that are going to continue to work. Another thing that, was hit on is, as you hit that T65 market and you're educating, which, I was at the Aetna NMO rollout in Florida in Key West a couple months ago. And Ty Woolridge, who's the president of Aetna Senior Supplemental, said, we've been beating that drum for a long time that 10 to 11,000 people are turning 65 a day, but it hasn't changed. Like people had kind of quit saying it. It's like, oh, everybody's been saying that, but it's still true. So it's like that hasn't slowed down. And I thought that was interesting when he said it, But when we get these leads, right now, one of the things that we think is most important is being able to reach out and contact right away. So we're beating that same drum of automation. We're automating the immediate response. We're sending them exactly what they asked for. We don't make them talk to us to get what they asked for, because I think that's where you start to irritate your high quality customers, is like pretending like you're giving them something and then calling them to give it to them. Just give it to them, And then when you did what you said and you follow up with another automation, asking them to set an appointment, or you call them, they're more likely to do business with you, in our opinion, because we're further into that thank you economy than we were a decade ago. Also,
go ahead. I was just gonna say, to back up on that message right there, text messages for us, just to reinforce what you just said, there is one text message that is, it's like a famous text message to me because it doubled the amount of appointments. I mean, it's a couple percentages off, but for all intents and purposes, it doubled the amount of appointments that we got because of one text message, one idea. So like, it's not just the automation behind it, but it's understanding like, what do you say in that? And, start testing things and developing like what language is responding, what language is working, because I'm getting good feedback from the customers, from the market. And once you start testing enough of that, all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm starting to speak their language. I understand that I said these 5 messages, literally not getting any good responses, but these 2 over here, I always get replies to, and I get a lot of appointments. And you start honing in on that kind of stuff. And anyway, I could talk for hours on that. I just wanted to say, like, I 100% agree with you on that. And the automations are very important. And
then another thing that we've seen is most people, when they're messing with their ads, they don't allow long enough for, like, it starts out and the lead cost is really high. So give you an example, like I started one. So Josh had, we share a lot back and forth. There's about 4 or 5 guys in the industry that I talk marketing with a lot, and really 2 or 3 of them, including Josh, that are the top ones that we really share stuff back and forth. And he was talking about this recent one is a landing page conversion one. When I first started it, and he was having great results. My calls per conversion, and in this case, I liken it to cost per acquisition, but the cost of it was looking like it was triple what I was spending before using a lead ad and then automating. But I let it optimize for a while, for about I guess 4 or 5 days, and then re-looked at it, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, this is costing me half what it was costing me before. So just sometimes you have to let these things sit there and learn. I mean, that's you can't really say that enough to people, that you have to let Facebook learn. And when I used to talk Facebook to my dad, like early on, I'd be running Facebook, and I'd say, "Oh, Dad, I'm getting leads for this much." He's like, "Well, get all of them," like as if you just buy them, and download. He just really didn't understand it, but it's kind of that, like, you have to understand that optimization of it, letting it do its thing, and then he would also say, well, what if they just want to send you the bad leads, or they want to charge you too much? Like, what if you're spending? He would always have these questions about it, and one thing that you have to know about Facebook is they want you to get good results, because they want you to keep spending money on the platform. So they don't want you to not get. They want 2 things. They want their customers, which are the people that use well, not the customers, but their users, to have great user experience, as good as they can, while still monetizing the platform. But their customers, who are us, the customers are not the people that are on there. They don't pay anything for it. The customers, who are us, they want us to have a good result too, especially the higher paying customers. Which I would consider mine. In the grand scheme of things, I'm sure I'm somewhere in the middle, because there are people spending hundreds of millions on there, tens of millions on there. So
that's why it works. And it's like marketing, since we're on the subject of it, I mean, marketing is interesting because there's really 2 pieces of it, in my opinion. Like, anybody, you can just go buy like a fly-by-night Facebook, ad course. And if it's good, as a fly-by-night course, there's like terrible ones that give you nothing, like teach you literally nothing. And there's other ones that are getting results for customers, but are still bad because it's just copy-paste. Like, it's just copy-paste this ad. Well, unfortunately, the copy-paste this ad, it works for a little bit, but then when it breaks, you have no idea how to actually go out and, fix it, or to evolve with the market. You didn't actually become a marketer. You just became a copy-paster. And when the copy paste no longer works, you have no idea how to do anything. And so, like, I guess that's like why we go to these seminars and conferences and things like that, is it's all about how do you learn how to be a master marketer. And it's all about frameworks. And, just sitting here and going, oh, it's all about cost per acquisition instead of cost per lead. That could take you a long time to figure out on your own. But like, that's one little thing, is just literally focus on the cost per acquisition. You got to let it optimize over time for a little bit to even see your results, and start making decisions based off that data. And as you learn more of the frameworks and more of the education behind it, you can create your own advertising and really bring that marketing in-house. And when the market changes, you can evolve. And I guess that's why I'm so passionate. That's why I love going to Medicare Con. That's why we're hosting the Thrive seminar out in Nashville.
Right.
It's just almost like, how do I get the knowledge so I'm in control? I don't know if that resonate. I'm sure it does with you, because
it definitely resonates. Not that normally it resonates for more people than you think, but the same thing. Like, and that is why we partner with people like Josh, and we do things like Thrive in Nashville, because it's going to be a good way for us to give back value, share value, build relationships, and then we build our businesses in a way that we can provide that same value to agents using the Thank You economy. And then some of those agents will do other business with us in ways that, will hopefully help them more and more, but will also give us an opportunity to showcase our skills on the front end. It's why we do things like this, where we're putting out value, so that hopefully when there's something that we can help with, not everyone needs to white label Medicare breakdown. Not everyone needs to come to Thrive. Not everyone needs to come to Medicare Con. Not everybody needs blah, blah, blah. But more people than show up probably do, because of some irrational fear, because of some FMO saying that's just a recruiting event, and thankfully anybody that came to Medicare Con or has gone to Thrive knows that it's not a recruiting event. The fact that some people go to those events and meet someone and leave an FMO every now and then has nothing to do with those events being recruiting events. It has everything to do with someone is providing value. And it's not even like, I know with Josh specifically, Josh won't appoint agents. He's referred some to us that we're looking for a home. But it's, but even like he'll tell you, I mean, any event we've been at together, I'm not over there saying you should come to our hierarchy. I don't want everybody in my hierarchy.
You don't. First of all, you don't have time for every single person in the world. And again, you have a very specific, person that you can help. Like our Thrive seminar, like you said, it's not for everybody. It truly isn't for a brand new agent. Like we talked at Medicare Con, those stages, I know I keep going back to that, but like it really is for people that are stage 3, 4, and 5, like, and maybe late stage 2. It's like people that are already making really good money. Because the marketing strategies that we're teaching, and it's very in-depth in the 2 days, but in those strategies, you need a little bit of money behind you. It doesn't take tens and tens of thousands of dollars to start, testing and implementing, but you can't be on a shoestring budget and say, oh, I have $200 to market. Like if you don't have $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 to use in your marketing, probably isn't the best event to come to, because all the strategies you're going to learn, you're going to be, pissed off going home saying, well, I can't implement it at all. But if you have a couple of $1,000 and you're like, hey, I'm going to use that money to grow my business. And for some of you, that's 20,000. For some of you, it's more than that. That's the kind of person that's going to learn a lot from this particular type of event, right? Because you're going to come in, you're going to learn how to use paid traffic to push. Instead of having a couple hundred people to talk to in a month, you have millions or hundreds of thousands of people going to your demonstration asset, your webinars, your book funnel, right? Like Justin or whatever it is. And I think there's a big distinction there. So when you get on the topic of events, and I know there's been some people on Facebook spouting off about events or things like that, you just got to know, what are you going to it for? If you're going to a 5,000 person event, you're probably going to go get motivated, first of all. And I think that's still a value. I think you need to go get recharged. You're going to network a lot. And there's fantastic networking at some of these bigger events. And you're going to get exposed to a ton of ideas, because there's a lot of really great speakers that give you a flavor of what they're doing. And that's a vital thing in the industry that we need. Otherwise, I wouldn't have sparked any of these ideas and like went and started researching them and saying, hey, how can I learn more about that? Listen to Jeff Root talk at Medicare Con, for example, and I didn't have any thought about some of those strategies at all. And we're currently focusing a bunch of effort on going out and implementing that. I wouldn't have known if Jeff Root wouldn't have talked. And there's other events that are more in the weeds on a couple topics, like Behind the Agency for you guys, Justin, or like Thrive for us. So just wanted to kind of chat about how I see the events in the industry. And if you go in not knowing what you want to get out of it, then yeah, you're probably not going to be happy. But if you go in knowing exactly what you want and you choose the event that's going to accomplish that for you, how could you not get the value? That's just my 2 cents.
I see it the same way. And, Thrive Nashville too, a $250 seat is, barely covering, if even covering the cost of the event. We love to get in there, educate agents. But for us, it's about filling the room with people who want to better themselves, that we can build the network with and find the people that we can really help, that are really open to being helped. And it's crazy, the ones that are open to being helped, the ones that have been helped a lot, and really take to it and really pour their own, budget and time and energy into it. And when I say budget, I don't mean budget to us. I mean, really, we're not out there charging for like crazy amounts of money for a lot of that stuff. The putting their budget towards their ad spend, budget towards a marketing plan, and then getting the support of people that have made some of those mistakes and done that. So I'm, excited to go to Thrive. I've sent people from my team to Thrive. I haven't gotten to one. I watched a virtual Thrive, but I haven't been live at one. So I'm excited to be able to present and add some value, but also to participate and hang out with some people in Nashville. It's one of my favorite cities. It's the only direct flight from Tupelo. We get to go to Nashville. It costs me about $45 for a ticket. So that's a very convenient place to go, right in the middle of the country. So it should be a great one. If you haven't been to Nashville, it'll be a good time. Also on the white labeling of the book for us, that's been a great lead magnet. But if you want any other lead magnet ideas, you can go to our website, BobbyBrockInsurance.com. We've created tons and tons and tons of lead magnets on there. So, and we give them away to seniors. We sell that book on Amazon, but that's actually more from the SEO aspect of it than trying to make money on the book. I think my book royalty check now with like 3 published books on there is somewhere around $500 or $600 a month. So I'm going to retire soon. But that's cool. But it has nothing to do with, making a bunch of money off of book sales. It's all about having something that gives you some authority. And I'll be honest with you guys. Everything that we talk about in marketing has a shelf life. If you wait too long to jump on an opportunity, and you can jump on it at the time when it's watered down and it's not working as effectively. And I'm bringing that up because being an author of a book holds a lot of weight still right now, but there is a time when it will not. And there's a market that's already happening in. If you're an author of a book to 25 to 35-year-olds, becoming less and less relevant because of AI. But even before AI, there were plenty of people pushing writing books for you, ghost writing books, and everybody was writing books. To the senior market, though, right now, it's still extremely valuable. And we're going to teach you guys, with Josh verbatim at Thrive in Nashville, exactly with literal screenshots, setting it up in front of you, exactly how to create every Facebook book ad that we have and every single way we're using it in direct mail with statistics of what we're getting in response.
You didn't tell me that. You didn't tell me that you're going to do that. I honestly didn't know. And I'm a little shocked that you threw it out. Maybe we'll have to take the recording out or something, but people don't necessarily know how much value that is. And that's why you can say it like this in a public format, because most people will hear what you just said, and they're not going to go, actually go through the process and do it. And the ones that do, I am a testament to this. A couple of years ago, I was really a nobody. I shouldn't say it like that, but I had a couple $100,000 in renewals. That's great. But I was not like this master marketer. And I have made millions of dollars and will continue to in my lifetime because of things that you have said, Justin. And I just wanted to publicly say, I'm extremely grateful for our relationship. Obviously, I'm in your hierarchy of things, and just because I wanted to, because I really enjoy your guys' style, I just want to say thank you. My goal is to help as many people as we can do the same. And it's you might think it's a small little thing, or somebody might think, oh, that's just a small little comment. Those small little comments, if you actually implement them, are worth millions of dollars. At least that's what it has been done for me. And so just want to say thank you, Justin.
There have been things, and I've credited it to, there's stuff that you've said that's helped me tremendously too on the back end, not even just from a making money off of you because we have a hierarchical affiliation, but just off of things you've told me. I mean, just like me talking about that landing page conversion change. I see it working, and I'll keep you updated, posted on how but the progress so far is looking very attractive. And it's funny, it gave me the confidence to do it because I'd been thinking about doing it, but I had shied away from LPC campaigns because I had issues in the past, and using the lead ad was a way to get the data without that. But now I'm shoot, this is actually reducing the calls. So, but then on, the same front, Robert Bache and some of these guys that, Jagger and people that have told me little things that lead to big things. So, it's always piecing together. So when we say something like allow 72 hours for an ad, minimum for an ad to optimize, think about that. Maybe put that as a timeline. I'm going to put a clock up every time I throw an ad up. Don't even look at it for the first 72 hours. Set a budget that you can completely ignore for 3 days, and then go back and look at what it did over that 3-day period, and then compare that to what it did in the last 24 hours. And then if it's okay, this is acceptable somewhat, or maybe it's moving in the right direction, wait another 72 hours and look at it again. and then compare what it did today, yesterday, over 7 days. And, always like crunching that data. Is it getting better? And then eventually, is it getting worse? Because that happens too, so we're always having to look at the set and just make sure we're moving in the right direction, or that we're in an acceptable range. Ads approved by CMS. Facebook ads approved by CMS. I hate questions like that. Sorry, Charmaine. The reason I don't know is we put the disclaimers in the ads, in the ad text now. Most of the ads that I'm running on Medicare are heavy med sup enrollment. So I will give you a quick pep talk on compliance. Compliance is about to wreck this market. It's going to wreck it. It's not going to do shit to me, because I'm not out there with a whole bunch of CTMs and complaints. I don't have that, so I'm off the radar. But these big groups that have a whole bunch of CTMs and complaints, or heavy percentage, I can tell you, Humana, a red flag is raised when you have over seven CTMs per 1,000 enrollments. So if you have 100 enrollments, then you don't even rate one complaint. We have around 2 per 1,000. So I'm UHC, it was 15 per 1,000 before they were raised a red flag. I think they're probably lowering that now, just because of all the pressure. So I would aim in that 7. If you write 100 Medicare Advantage plans in a year and you have 1 complaint, you're over the threshold. So another reason to avoid the low income market, because who complains the most? Low income people. And most of the time it's erroneous complaints too, where they're complaining because they never gave somebody permission. Well, they did, but now that's a complaint you have to answer for. So we don't have to worry about that, because we educate. And the Medicare Advantage market that we're hitting is, we don't do a lot of duals. It's not that we won't do a dual. It's just, we just don't worry about it as much. Now, it doesn't mean I'm not going to actively pursue being compliant. As the year evolves this year, I think it will become more important to run your ads through CMS. But by through CMS, what I really mean is I'll use a carrier to tell me whether it's good or not.
Well, and at the end of the day, if Justin gets in trouble with CMS, he'll probably just point that screwdriver he's been waving around. He'll probably just point that screwdriver at him. He has a weapon in his back pocket.
You know what actually happened is I used to bite my fingernails because my mother bit her fingernails, and I picked up on it as a kid. And not long ago, I started putting that bittering stuff on my hands so I wouldn't put my fingers in my mouth. And so my fingernails have grown out, and I keep clipping them and filing them and all that, but they're growing really fast. And so I'm over here doing this, because it's like a new feeling I've not used to. So
I've been wanting to comment on it the entire time, and I'm the only one that can actually physically comment. So I decided to do it.
That's a weird. I had it sitting here because I was fixing something on the wall earlier, and then I'm just sitting here fidgeting. But it's better to have that fidget than put my fingers in my mouth. So there's a weird, interesting thing about Justin. Everybody likes it.
It keeps you human in everybody's eyes, including mine. So I appreciate it. But honestly, yeah, we're extremely excited to have you at the Thrive seminar. If you guys haven't already, go check it out. Don't take my word for it. Don't take Justin's word. We have tons and tons of testimonials of what people have actually learned. And I only put those on the page so you get a vibe for what is the event like? Because I believe wholeheartedly in events. And again, this might be a good fit for you. It might not, but go check it out and see if the curriculum that we posted is actually something you want to learn about. And if it is, we'd love to see you in Nashville. It's July 11th and 12th. So you can go to ticket2thrive.com. I'd love to see you guys there.
Yeah. And it's absolutely worth it. As far as I don't think there would be a mandatory hotel for Thrive. Do we have where we're
actually finalizing that tomorrow? They actually sent me a contract today, so we'll be announcing it to all ticket holders via text and email. So, and then you can get your, obviously, Nashville 11th and 12th. So you can get your plane tickets booked now. Definitely is going to be there. We have the venue. We just haven't announced it yet.
Yeah, and I think right in the middle of, if you haven't been in Nashville, if you wanted to stay at a different hotel or something, right in the middle of Nashville is the Omni, and it's just a good location. I like it. So it's like right in the heart of like the action. So, but yeah, we'll definitely, Josh will announce something, and but you won't have you stay anywhere in Nashville and have a great time. So awesome, guys. Well, I don't want to keep Josh much longer. I know we're all going to get on about our business, but if you guys need anything from us or have any questions, obviously I've been running it in a banner at the bottom of the screen the whole time, but you can go to ticket2thrive.com, and then there's a longer link that goes straight to the white label book we're talking about. But you can just go to store.justinbrock.com and then click the all products. You'll find that on there. And hey, we want to help you guys with all kinds of stuff. So let us know how we can help. Love to see some of you guys the following week after Thrive. Just make a vacation out of it and come down to behind the agency in Tupelo as well. You can do summer. Just got to convince your significant other that you're going to spend the summer on the Natchez Trace Parkway in between Nashville and Jackson, Mississippi. It might be a tough sell, but if you start in Nashville, that's a little better than Jackson. Actually, don't go to Jackson. Come to Tupelo and then go home. All right, guys. Hey, thank you so much to Josh for taking the time on here. I hope that we gave away some good information here. Would love to see you guys at Thrive, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks, Justin. Appreciate you as well. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, brother. Talk to you later. Bye.
It's time to grow your agency like a guru. Introducing Go Guru Pro. The Go High Level platform allows for minimizing software-based subscriptions and grants control over several facets of marketing and communication. Automate your workflow, communicate with your leads, book appointments in advance, and house all your clients in one secure location. Visit goguru.pro and schedule your one-on-one demo today.